Hi everybody and welcome back. My name's Melissa and this year I'm sharing 365 tips for frugal living. So today's tip is when you are starting a new hobby, a new project, a new passion, don't go out and buy like the best of the best and all of it to start because you might not really like that. So if you need a drill for some simple things around the house, you don't need a $300 DeWalt drill. You need a 20, 30, 40, $50 drill from Harbor Freight or Black& Decker or something like that, or borrow one or something like that. And this is definitely a do as I say, not as I do, because I have definitely learned this from experience. I frequently, so I didn't go out and necessarily buy the DeWalt drill. Little background with me, actually, I do believe in quality tools for the most part. I grew up with a dad who always had the DeWalt drill and all the name brand high quality. He was in construction though. He did it for a living. He was an electrician. I mean, he built the house I grew up in, like built it, like nailed all the nails, put in all the boards, put in the electric and the plumbing, and put on the roof. I mean, as a little girl, I watched him build a 3,000 square foot house, which was no easy feat. And I mean, he didn't do it alone. He did it with his friends. Um, Back then, your buddies would do like all sorts of things with you. It was a much different world back then. And they still had a lot of those like hands-on skills. So I watched that, and so I know quality tools can be a lot, or can be worth it. But if you're just starting out, start small. If you want to try painting, you don't have to go and buy those like $30 to $50 tubes of paint. Start small. Don't go out and get the most expensive canvas. See if you like it. See how you can do it. Obviously with some of them, like your fluid art, you're gonna need to have a certain level of quality. Like I did paint pouring, and I started with the Liquitex paint pouring medium, which it was really affordable. I got like, I don't know, a gallon or so for like 60, $70 on Amazon years ago. And I would get it by the gallon. And so it was cheap, but somebody had suggested doing like this flood and glue mix. And it was horrible, like crazed. So it didn't work. So I can understand like a certain minimum quality level, but you also don't need to have the maximum quality level. Like you just kind of need to find that happy medium. Sorry, my blinds are blowing in the bathroom. It's freaking me out. And not spend a ton. And I know that sounds crazy because here I am, like, I'm turning my yard into a garden because I'm impatient and sick of it all. But I am determined. But we're all going to be trying to like learn new skills and do new things. I just read today that the European Union is telling all of their citizens to have like 72, was it 72 hours or 72 days? I hope it was 72 hours worth of supplies, because 72 days worth of water, that's a lot of stinking water. But I think it was like 3 days or so worth of supplies, and to like learn to be self-sufficient. And so we do definitely want to have a certain amount of self-sufficiency and a certain amount of preparedness. But that doesn't mean that you have to have like the best of everything and go out and spend all that money on everything. You can get tools used or get supplies used. I just sold a bunch of my old craft stuff that I'd spent a fortune on. And I mean, granted, I did, by the time you figure, I did sell some of my art. I kept some of the supplies. I sold some of the supplies. So I'm probably at close to break even. with the money I spent, but it doesn't always happen. I also have a lot of things that I've just like donated through the years because it's not for me. So start small with your hobby, your new hobbies and stuff like that. Don't just be like, I think I want to, I want to learn to build a house, so I'm going to go out and buy all the tools. No, like go out and buy a saw and a drill maybe, and like a lower end and some fence pickets, and try building a birdhouse before you're like, you know what, I'm going to do that and go and buy like all the supplies. And if you like the birdhouse, then try building a planter and, work your way up. But I still see people buying so much, and I'm like, that's a lot. So today's tip for frugal living is, when starting a new hobby, start small. Start with like a low to mid end supply instead of just like the highest. I mean, nobody is going to be starting out on like I've seen some wood that's like super expensive. I'm talking like $50 a linear foot. You don't start on that. You start on, fence pickets or pine. But when starting a hobby, start small. Make sure you like it. Whenever possible, like start with a friend who's got supplies and can share, or borrow a tool or something. If you can't, start like small, and don't go out and buy thousands of dollars worth of paintbrushes because you're sure you're going to be the next Picasso. Go out and spend like $5-10 on like a very basic starter set at Michael's of like several brushes, and like get a few canvases and some paint, and see if you even like it. Because if you don't like it with the simple ones, it's not going to become your passion because you have more expensive tools. And that's different than if it is your passion and your career, getting the more expensive tools versus like starting out, just to clarify. But start small with your hobbies. Anyways, again, my name's Melissa, and this year I'm sharing 365 tips for frugal living. If you want to hear more, please hit like and subscribe, and I'll see y'all tomorrow.